in Hate Inc., you closed out with a chapter on Rachel Maddow that was fascinating because you took a lot of heat on having her on the cover with Sean Hannity. Now, you've known her since when she was on Air America. Is that when you met?
Yeah, like 2001 or 2, maybe something like probably 2002 or 3. Yeah, something like that.
All right. So you say at one point, I admired her as someone who was smart, quick, and funny. She has since sacrificed even her sense of humor to MSNBC, letting the network commoditize this side of her to the point of unrecognizability. And you go on to say, it's been amazing watching a woman who in life is naturally bright and inquisitive turned into a vehicle for this kind of extreme anti-intellectual exercise. Now, can you say more about that in terms of how a host like Rachel Maddow or Chris Hayes, people who you actually say in that chapter in regards to Maddow that she's smart enough to know better, so you blame her for this more than you blame Hannity. How do they end up propagandists for a political party? Are they blind to what they've become? Do they feel the ends justify the means, or is it about the paycheck?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough question. I think there's probably some self-deception that goes on when everybody's telling you you're amazing and you're getting paid a massive amount of money and the company loves you, and everywhere you go, there's just affirmation everywhere. It's hard not to think, well, they must be right on some level, you know. I'm sure that figures into the equation, but you know, there's a thing about going to sleep at night and sleeping well that I think was always a major part of the equation for most like reporter types. And I thought of her as somebody who was very sincere on about the politics once upon a time. And, you know, to see this turnaround into this hyper patriotic, aggressively like anti-Russian in the same way that you know, that Bill O'Reilly was about Muslims once upon a time. It's the same formula. It's the same shtick. She has to know that it's the same shtick because she's good at it. Like, in other words, it's to be good on TV in the way that she is a skill that you have to be analyzing it constantly, and she has to know exactly what it is that she's doing. So it must be a conscious choice. What people I think don't get is they'll come back at you and they'll say, yes, but she doesn't lie the way that Sean Hannity does. Well, first of all, she does a little, you know what I mean? Like, I think in the last 5 or 6 years, I think you could argue, you know, it's a pretty tough call as to say, you know, who's a bigger liar lately. But more than that, it's just the technique of feeding a gigantic audience this totally useless and regressive product, which is rage based and emotion based, and she has to know that she's kind of guiding people into a place of non-thought, and that's you know, it's just disappointing. I guess you do it for the money. I don't know. I mean, I would think that she could make $1.5 million or $2 million doing something better, but whatever. You know, I mean, it's a choice that people make.
Please clap.